How is it going, my homosexuals? I hope you're doing as good as I'm doing today, because I feel fucking wonderful. It has been a while since I have had such a productive day, not just materialistically, but communicatively as well. We're going to get to that. You know, you've seen the title, so I'm sure I'm edging you on a little bit, but you'll find out in a minute. Anywho, I feel fucking great. The snatches were really good. I'm not going to lie to you. I got into the gym with some phantom knee pain yesterday with how heavy I went on my squats. So I was trying to hit a 4-rep max. Got up to my 202 kg, 445 pounds for 4. Going to keep bragging about that till I hit a bigger weight. But, you go that heavy, sometimes it can put a strain on your body. And specifically, it felt like the ligament in my knee was not hurt or anything. I know what actual pain feels like in this sport, but it just felt sore. It felt a little strained. So it was like those first couple of sets, I was just trying to get the blood pumping, doing a lot of focused stretches on my knees. If you do like toe squats where you elevate your heels to the max, that helps a lot with the pressure and getting the blood through. And I did some reverse lunges, which surprisingly hit way harder than I thought they would. They helped immensely. I got that from a homie, so shout out to that fucking guy. But anyway, form was fucking wonderful. Felt really good. I was interrupted partway through, but we're going to get to that, and it has a happy ending, so don't you worry your fucking heart out, because I am a communicator, if anything. But other than that, big fucking news. My chest is better. Bench is finally back in the ball game. It's only been a week, but god damn it, when just even a day, even a session or two away from bench makes me feel like I lost a loved one. I've just put so much time into these fucking lifts that anytime I lose one of them for a short period of time, I'm just like sitting there crying my heart. I just like, come back to me. It's like me chasing the next that ran away. But anyway, that's not me projecting or anything. We're just having fun. But got up to 255. My goal was 70%. Or no, not 255, 250, sorry. Got up to my 70%, which was the goal, because I want to get back into it slowly. Because even though the push is good, I feel confident in it again. No pulling at all, no pain. Just feels good, which is awesome. But to be expected, that singular muscle in my chest that got pulled is now a bit weaker than all my other ones. So I have to build it up slowly. I got to be very meticulous about that. That's why I only did 2 sets at 250, 1 normal rep, 1 pause rep. Because the pause repping was just to make sure I was fully confident in my ability to do so, which thankfully I was. Went fucking beautifully, if I don't say so myself. The slow tempo was very nice. But yeah, it was a great session, and I am excited to be back into it. So I'm going to build that strength back up next bench session in a couple of days from now. Since I'm not peaking bench this week anymore, I'll go to 80% and just get comfortable with that. And the next week, I'll just get back on the normal training cycle. I'm doing 5x2 next week at 85, so it'll be a great way to segue back into the normal training program. Anyway, physically, honestly, just to celebrate my chest, we'll give it a very flat 9. I know it doesn't seem too crazy. We've had a lot of good days recently, but it felt fucking wonderful. My snatch form was actually because of me focusing more on my technique than letting my muscles take over, because of the slight strain I felt in my knee on the warm-up sets. My form was actually impeccable today. It was fucking wonderful. Made me feel amazing. And again, like I said, like getting the bench back in, that brings a tear to my eye. My homie was like, yeah, call me over when you tear your chest open. I'm like, nah, we're him today. I'd win today. We're there. So feeling fucking wonderful. Other than that, mentally, now mid-workout, because of the noise complaint, get you a little bit of segue right there. Because of that interruption, I did get to my head a little bit. I took it a little bit personally in the moment, but this is why we go and talk to people in the moment, get your frustrations out, try to think logically about it with people who are unbiased to the situation, and then confront it in a positive, if at the very least, neutral way. So mentally, now, by the end of it, I can give it 9.15, just right over the physical. Felt really good. A lot of homies today too. I cannot ever forget about the homies. It was a great day. But getting into it, noise complaint part 2. I know, if any of you are actually consistently watching this shit, You know the context. But essentially, for the third time now in the past 2 weeks, I have been complained about by the same worker about noise complaints. And again, nobody assume right now. I'm going to be emotional up front just to replicate how I felt in the moment, and then we'll get there, So don't get ahead of yourself and start saying some mean shit. We're going to get there, I promise. So for context, she brought this up to my attention before. I communicated with her. I was like, I just want to be on the same page with you. I don't want any beef between us. Is there an issue? I'm trying my best not to slam the weights. It's Olympic lifting, so there's not a lot I can do. And she was just like, oh yeah, there's just not a lot of people here. I just wanted to be more comfortable for the people. I've got a couple of complaints, and I'm like, okay, cool. We openly communicated. We're good. So I thought that was the end of it. And lo and behold, here we are, 2 complaints later. I got a little fed up with it. I'm not going to lie. I got, in the moment, I was just like, dude, we talked about this. I thought we were fine. And I don't slam my weights. I know it looks like I might do to anybody watching this that doesn't do Olympic lifting. But if you do Olympic lifting, or you at least know people that do, I swear to God, dude, look at my PR Snatch day from this week. That's slamming weights. And by the way, not purposefully. It's not with malicious intent or anything. You just can't control the weight when it's that heavy with that technical of a technique. You have to let it go so that you don't hurt yourself. I try to go the extra distance by catching the weight on the second bounce, because that's all I can do. If I catch it on the way down, it'll rip my fucking thumbs off. We do hook grip. So anyway, I digress. I was sitting there doing shadow arguments with myself, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. You just get a little pissed off about a situation in the moment. You're thinking about all the points in an argument that you could make to make it to where you're more in the right. It's just the thing that humans do right off the bat. You don't mean to, but initially we are always going to be emotional creatures. It's our brain's chemical makeup to just immediately get upset and then get logical. God, you must be a fucking psychopath if you can go straight to logic first. Either you're a psychopath or you have been through some shit, But anyway, that's just me throwing shit around, whatever. But get to the fucking, the brux of it. I went up to her today after, getting perspectives of other people, because everybody I talked to, they were just like, no, dude, you don't slam, you're doing Olympic lifting. We understand that you can't really do anything about it. And again, you're a good guy. We know you personally, so we don't have any hard feelings about it. You're just doing your best to do what you got to do. And this is a gym that allows Olympic lifting. The platform I lift on for my snatches and my clean and jerks was literally put into the gym, because me and the Olympic lifter that kind of brought the scene to this gym, we were kind of the first two to actually consistently do it here. We used to do it from the floor, and dude, that shit is loud. Holy fuck. And I never got a noise complaint back then. And so they literally instated this platform just for the sake of dampening the noise, because so many people would complain about it, because they understand that we can't do much about it. But you gotta try to do something as the company, which I fully understand. So I went up to the girl that was working, and again, I've never been complained about by a single employee that I've known there. I've known every employee that has worked there in the past 2 years. Not a single complaint. Even the manager at the gym has literally coaxed me to lift heavy and go hard, because he knows that I can't do much about it. And again, it's a single, it's once every 15 minutes. I gotta put it down somehow. I can't just recatch it on my hips and drop it down. Maybe if I was using straps, but I hook grip. And even with straps, I wouldn't force somebody to do that if they weren't comfortable with it, because Olympic lifting is dangerous. We're putting our joints and our muscles at risk every single rep, because a bad bit of technique can mess us up. And bad technique it's not optimal. If I get confronted about this noise complaint thing, it's going to make my mind wander and I perform worse. Anyway, I apologize for all the ranting. We get there, and so I'm talking to, I make sure to wait until I'm finished with my workout, because if it goes wrong, I don't want it to fuck up my lifts. I just want to walk away for a bit. I always tell everybody, either sleep on it or just walk away for a little bit, do your thing, and then come back and talk when you got your head screwed on straight. So I got my shit out with other people that I knew were unbiased about it, that would just tell me how they felt, and I was like, okay, I got the logic down. I just got to go actually communicate it now, because if you're upset about something, just getting it out and ranting about it is not enough. You must communicate through. I say this all the time. Communication is king in any scenario, as long as both parties are capable of doing so. You both have to have the actual effort to communicate and try to come to a middle ground, so that both sides of the argument can be positively affected by the end of it. So I was just honest with her. I was like, look, I don't want there to be any beef. I'm sure there's like, I know there's no malicious intent or anything, because I know you, because I do know her, and like, she's not a bad person by any means. And I was like, look, like, I just want to be honest. And it's like, you've kind of only gotten onto me. I see so many other people slam weights. The moment you brought it to my attention, not in a malicious way, but I immediately started like trying to hyperfixate on other people who slammed heavier than me, because she said that she was just noticing mine the most, and for the sake of making it comfortable for the people that were complaining, she tried to come up to me and like make that known. And I was like, okay, so I get that, but it's like just been me, and we talked about it originally, and I'm like, I've heard people yell in this gym. If the guys there's a group of like 6 older dudes that'll deadlift and scream their fucking head off, and nobody complains about that, because it's just, that's expected of that group, and nobody wants to get in the middle of that. So I'm just this one lone lifter in the middle of the gym, because the Olympic platform is in the most center point of the gym, where everybody can see and everybody can hear, and no matter how quiet I try to make it, I'm gonna be noticed. And as I suspected, she was just like, yeah, there's no malicious intent, which of course not. It's very rare that people actually want to maliciously affect you negatively. It's just two sides, different paths, and you just got to communicate to get to the middle point so that you both understand where you're coming from. Once you walk in the other person's shoes for a second, even if you don't get the full experience, if you actually try to acknowledge and, imagine what they might be going through, it makes it easier to have a bit of compassion for that situation. So I was like, I fully get it. And she was like, yeah, I just didn't want to make the customers uncomfortable, and I'm a sales clerk. Whenever we have these older gentlemen and these older women in the gym, we want it to be a nice, humble, like kind of quiet place so that we can like make sure that they want to buy their membership. And I'm like, I totally get that. You got to get the bag. You're trying to just do your job, but it's just a matter of it hadn't been communicated yet. So got a little emotional in the moment, which is fine, because like when it happened, I didn't get it on recording or anything, but she gave me a whole stink eye because I did a set right as she walked by with the customer. That was an older guy, and then I dropped the weight down, and like I always put my hands down and try to push it to the ground, and she just turned around and just gave me that stink eye. I was like, oh, I either fucked up and made her mad, or she's just trying to communicate to me that she's just like, oh, like, I'm trying to sell right now. It's like, okay, cool. Anyway, we get everything out. It's about being fully honest. You got to put forth your positive foot forward and just be honest about how you're feeling with no malicious intent. It's not about blame. It doesn't really matter who's in the right or the wrong. It's just how are we going to communicate and get to meet in the middle ground for this, so that we can both walk away, keep appreciating each other, and just doing better along the way. That's what it's all about, because she's got her reasons, I got mine. So let's just see how we feel and just try to meet each other's most minimal expectations. So I was just like, okay, cool. Now that I know how you feel about it, I will try my best to be mindful of in the future. Like if I see you walking around with clients, I'll chill out for a second. I'll give it a minute before I actually do my set, because I get it. She's just trying to do her job, trying to make the bag. I would want that support from any of my homies, So I'm glad I haven't known her long, so I'm glad that we got to communicate that through. But just as I am compromising on my end, I communicated to her. I was like, as I'm going to do that, whenever you have this going on, like just, maybe try not to give me a little stink eye, because that made me, it hurt my feelings a little bit. I was like, I thought we were close. I thought we were friends. And that obviously that doesn't it's not a big deal, but it was like, I didn't want her to be mad at me. And I was like, oh, I thought we were chill, And she was like, yeah, no, I'll give you a more peaceful sign. I'll just be like, oh, hey, like I'm walking around with clients. And like, again, regardless of the signs or what efforts we make, communicating gets everybody working just a little bit better toward that goal of meeting each other's standards in a positive way. And so now that we both know exactly how we feel about the situation, and we both want the most positive outcome for each other and the gym, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable in the gym, even if I can't really help dropping the weights. So we've reached that middle ground to where we both know how each other feel. So naturally, without even communicating to each other, we're going to take the steps necessary to make it a comfortable position where we don't actually complain to one another, which is the best thing you can do. It's the most positive outcome, and I fucking love that. That's the best way to interact with people in any scenario. It doesn't matter what's happened, how negative a thing it was. If both sides are willing to communicate and want to make their best effort to make a positive outcome, you got to go for it. So anyway, that's all I got. I figured I'd throw that out there because I think it's good to kind of see these perspectives and understand, like, this stuff happens in the gym a lot. Tensions are high. People are emotional. People are hyped up on adrenaline and whatever the fuck drugs or pre-workout you're taking. So it makes sense that people get a little emotional in the heat of the moment, you know? I see so many older guys get mad at younger kids for virtually no reason. And if you had communicated it, nobody would have been upset, you know? So just do your best to take one step at a time in the future and just not, like, get overly emotional in the moment. You can go spread those emotions to the people that are unbiased to the situation and then, you know, take a walk and then come back and try to have a nice, neutral at least, or a positive conversation where you're not focused on blame, you're not trying to put up your defensive walls at all, you're just trying to be vulnerable, honest, and just getting everything laid out in the open so everybody knows where everybody's at. So you will not see me tomorrow. I'm going to get a very nice rest day in. I need my knee for sure. My knee ligament needs some rest, even though I got the blood pumping and it felt really good by the end of it. It's strained a bit, you know, not in a bad way, but it's tired. It needs a good 48 hours of rest. And other than that, you know, my chest feels great, so I'm just going to keep stretching it. And next time I bench, I'll go to 80% and just go from there and do better every fucking day and just keep loving the gym, keep loving life, and doing my fucking thing. So I appreciate if you're sticking around. You know, let me know how the lifts and the lives have been going because I fucking love hearing about it. But that's kind of all I got. So I'll see you next time. Bye.